And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host and author, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome back journalist turned author, Clea Simon, here to give us the inside scoop about her latest book out tomorrow. That is The Butterfly Trap. Clea, welcome back to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It is an honor to be here. The Butterfly Trap is a slow burn domestic or psychological thriller. It's a he said, she said. First, we get one side of the story from Greg, who's kind of a, he's sort of a stoic type. He's a medical researcher who wishes he had some romance and magic in his life. And then when he meets Anya, who's a free-spirited artist, he thinks he has found it all. Is it going to work out? Well, you'll have to read that to find out.
Well, I love dual POV. I love he said, she said books. And so I'm so excited to get the inside scoop and all of the details from you. So first, I just want to welcome everyone. So we are going live to 7 different destinations across Facebook and YouTube. So hey, mystery and thriller loving friends, no matter where you're watching from, you're in the right place. This is the right time. It is Mystery Monday, because Mondays can be murder. We are going to make it a little less painful for you and get your week off to a killer start. So if you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, here's the drill. Every Monday, I give you my handpicked featured authors and you get to ask them anything. So ask Clea about these Greg and Anya characters. Ask her about her writing process. Clea also is a musician and a journalist. She worked for the Boston Globe. So there is a lot to chat about. So let's just get the questions going in the chat, and I will get them right over to her. Clea, I will kick off. Was there one character, Greg or Anya, that was easier and harder for you to write? And if so, who was it and why?
Oh, that is a great question, Sarah. So thank you for that. Was there one character who was easier to write? When you're in the process, as I'm sure you know as a writer, and as I'm sure many of our audience know, when you're in one persona, you inhabit that persona. So when I was Greg, I was a guy. There's a fair amount of sex in this novel, as you've probably realized. I really tried to see women as a certain kind of guy would see them. Not necessarily great, but I like to think it's honest. But yes, my heart probably really belongs to Anya, in part because she's an artist. And as you pointed out, I was a musician. I don't play anymore, so I don't think I can still call myself a musician. And I spent many years also writing about music and sort of enveloped in the music scene. And Anya is a painter. She's desperately trying to break through. She feels like she's got these inner blocks. She's got these demons that she's trying to conquer so she can really creatively express herself. But she's supported by this whole artistic community. And the community and the friendships there really come to play in their relationship. But I think because of that community and because of Anya's drive to create, probably Anya is the character who is closest to my heart.
How did you find it writing a male POV as a female writer? Because I also had a male POV and I struggled about it. I mean, I am married to a man and I've lived with him for almost 20 years, and yet the male mind remains a mystery to me. Clea, how did you navigate writing Greg?
Well, I'll leave it. It's hard. I agree with you. I will leave it to the readers to see if I did it successfully. But one of the things that I've observed is the certain dynamic between some kinds of male friends, and Greg is not. He's not really an alpha male. His buddy Pete is, and Greg's used to playing the wingman, and that sort of sets the whole thing up. In fact, he first meets Anya because he sees her and he's smitten, but he realizes that Pete's going to move on her if he doesn't, and that kind of forces his hand. Other than that, okay, I have a confession here. When I was in college, I had a serious boyfriend, and we broke up for a while. And we got back together, and when we got back together, he kept a journal. Diary, if you will, except guys didn't. Yeah, yes, Sarah.
You read his journal, Clea?
I read his journal, and one of the things that struck me and has stayed with me was how he described a woman he was on a date with, who actually was a friend of mine, and she ultimately turned him down. He was very angry about that because he said, "You and Clea are still close, and I think you might get back together." But the way he talked about her body and what he was lusting for, I stole that.
Clea, wait a minute. Did you ever confess to this man?
No, and I really
Oh
hope
my
he's
God,
not
what if
on
he's
this.
watching the interview right now? What
If
if
you
he
are,
now knows you read his
very
journal?
curious.
Clea Simon, I demand that you email this man tomorrow and confess to your crime of reading his journal and mining it for content for Greg. Oh my God. Oh my God. Randy, welcome to the conversation. Joining us from YouTube. He wants to know, Clea, what instruments do you play? Tell us all about that.
I have to say, and I loved your icon, Randy. I love kitties. I played bass, and I started off playing classical bass, string bass. I still have a string bass. Actually, I still have both a string bass and an electric bass. But in rock bands, I play electric bass.
So what's your favorite? That is very cool. What is your favorite rock song to play? Are we talking Jimi Hendrix? Like what kind of electric bass are we talking about?
Nah, I was a punk girl. So but so for bass, like the sort of the funk punk of like the Bush Tetras or Gang of Four, or even Talking Heads. Tina Weymouth is a kick-ass bassist. Something with a little syncopation, a little spark.
Okay. So for fun fact, so for Clea's, the last time Clea was on Mystery and Thriller Mavens, it was for her rock band Thriller. Because before that, interestingly, Clea, you used to write cozies, which are sort of which are very charming, sort of balm for the heart. When I'm having a rough time, I turn to cozies, and that's kind of all the time right now. And then you were like, no, I'm gonna put the cozies and the tea and the knitting to the side, and you're not going to feel safe in this world. I'm going to write this rock band thriller, centering about in the 1990s rock punk scene in Boston, drawn from your own experience. And actually, you got that bass out, and I got to see you playing some strings. I don't know what the expression is. So it's so great to know that the rocker is still alive in you.
Though the witch cats are as well. The cozies are as well. I'm continuing. I go back and forth. I'm hard at work on the next witch cat thing. I don't have tea and I don't have knitting, but I have cats who are magical cats.
Listen, I have tea and I knit. So keep the dream alive, Clea. Oh my goodness. Randy says he plays the drums here and anything for the Beatles. Okay. We already love Randy. Just when I thought I couldn't love you anymore. I know every Beatles song by heart. I love the Beatles. And that's so cool. So you're a Ringo, Randy. That makes sense. Randy and Ringo. We've got our drummers here. It's perfect. Oh my God. We could almost have a whole band here. Oh my God. We could be the Mavens. It could be a mystery band. I'm getting so excited. Okay. John is joining us from Northeast Ohio. Hi, John. Good to have you. Thank you for joining us. Robin is joining us from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which has been in the news quite a lot lately. Feminist icon making news over there in Coeur d'Alene. And Robin is saying, yay, she loves magical cats. Clea, tell us about this other series that you write, very different from these psychological burns. Tell us about the cats.
They are very different, and they're lovely for me because they give me a break. They are comforting to me as well. It's a lovely world to go into, especially when I've done something kind of hard and dangerous, which I really hope the Butterfly Trap is. But my Witch Cat series features a trio of cats. They're magical cats. They belong to a young woman, and because of a mix-up in the first book, the young woman thinks that she has magical powers, whereas in truth, it's the cats who have magical powers. But because she thinks she has magical powers, she has set herself up as a witch detective, and she gets into all sorts of trouble. And of course, her cats have to help get her out.
Oh my goodness. So we are here to talk about the Butterfly Trap, but for those who are interested, I'm going to also post the link to Clea's very first Witch Cats of Cambridge book, which is A Spell of Murder. So here is the link to that, and then you can read along in that series as well. Margaret saying, your magical cat books are awesome. We have some fans here for you, Clea, and thank you, Margaret, for your profile picture. I also stand with Ukraine. Robin is saying, well-behaved women rarely make history. That is a mantra for the day. Thank you, Robin. And I want to talk about the Butterfly Trap some more. So Clea, tell us about, is the writing process different for you for writing The Witch Cats of Cambridge versus writing these, darker and harder books? Or is it just writing is writing, whether you're a rock, because you were also a music journalist for the Boston Globe. Is it just whether you're writing about music, whether you're writing about cats, whether you're writing about his and her psychological burns, it's just writing is writing? Or do you feel very different practices?
Wow, that's a hard question. The easy answer is that writing is writing. It's always hard, especially the blank page is a scary, scary thing. So it's always hard. And my process is that you have to do a certain amount of words per day person, even if it's crap, you got to get it out, because you have to get you have to let the tap run until the rusty water's done and the water runs clear. That said, the witch cats are more familiar to me. So that makes them a little easier. And also I indulge myself in that. There's every now and then I'll have a very tense scene, and then I'll have a scene with just the cats talking among themselves. So that's sort of light and fun. Whereas in a book like The Butterfly Trap, I really wanted it to be spare. I wanted it to be there, no fat at all. I wanted it to be, this is Greg's point of view. This is what he thinks is happening. This is what his desires are. This is what his expectations are, as the action builds. And then we flip to Anya, and we find out what Anya's expectations are and what Anya's desires are, and how she is navigating this complicated relationship with a man who is very different from her. So that was the challenge there in the writing. And yeah, I think that I feel like I'm maybe a little more disciplined with the domestic thrillers, the psychological suspense books like The Butterfly Trap. I'm not sure how you'd categorize it.
I love that. Renee is saying, so do you play musical instruments? So you play classical bass and wait, are those two different kinds of basses?
No, but I have an acoustic bass and I have an electric bass. Sorry, this is me doing the acoustic bass.
Oh my God. Oh,
yes. But I have not played it in years, really. So I don't think I can honestly say I'm an active.
You also play bass. Okay,
Yes.
Okay, got it. Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you. Robin is saying, I don't know how it's possible that Clea is a new to me author. I must look for her books. Robin, I am so glad you said that, because we are coming up on 5 years of Mystery and Thriller Mavens. I can't believe it, but it's been 5 years this spring. And my goal, my mantra is connecting readers to their favorite authors and introducing them to their new favorite authors. And so when someone says that, it's so meaningful to me that I can provide that bridge and that connection, that place for us to meet here together. So thank you so much for saying that. And I'm going to post the link to Clea's backlist so that you can see all of her books and all of the books in the Witch Cats of Cambridge series. But Clea also has other books as well. So here is the link to Clea's entire backlist right here. Margaret is saying she has written so many great books. Yeah, Clea, how many books have you written?
Oh, this is kind of scary. I have 3 nonfiction books. Was from when I was a journalist. Yes, I can send them to you if you'd like. And The Butterfly Trap is my 32nd mystery.
Wait, Clea, I didn't know that. Oh my God.
If you keep doing something long enough.
32nd, I would have said, I thought we were in the 12 to 15 range, which is already amazing. 32nd, congratulations, Clea. Oh my God, I love that. Robin is saying, okay, Clea plays the bass, Randy plays the drum, Sarah plays I don't play anything. I played the piano when I was a kid. I would have to dust those skills off.
You can do that.
Piano is probably not so much. We need some other talent here. If anyone else has who's watching with us plays an instrument, tell us what it is. We're gonna get the Mavens band together.
You need a guitar or a saxophone.
Oh my God. Renee is saying she has read something by Clea by the past. She can't remember, but she's so glad to find Clea again. Well, there's 32 books to be chosen. So to be searched among. So we have a lot to read here, Renee. I want to talk about this blurb from our mutual friend, the incredible Caroline Leavitt, New York Times bestselling author Caroline Leavitt. And what I loved about this is that she likened your books. I'm going to pop it up so we can all read it together. She said Megan Abbott meets Paula Hawkins's The Girl on the Train mixed with some Patricia Highsmith creepiness that will make you turn the pages. A psychological suspense novel, darkly inventive and full of grit. So the comp titles are so helpful because you're like, oh, that I know that one. I know that one. Okay, perfect. And then you, Clea Simon, have created a rock ballad mashup of Hawkins and Abbott and Highsmith, and it's all just it's a jam now, which Caroline calls darkly inventive and full of grit. So congratulations on that rave review from New York Times bestselling author Caroline Leavitt. Brett, welcome to the conversation, joining us from Facebook, saying, hi, Clea. I was wondering what kind of inspiration you get from the friendly community of writers, musicians, and other creative types in Boston. What a great question.
That's a great question. Thank you very much, Brett, and welcome to the conversation. I came up in the kind of community that Anya lives in now. When I came up, it was a musical community, but it wasn't just the music. It's like we'd meet at night in the clubs, and there was always like, one or two shows that like everybody was going to, but there's more than one. And so you'd see your friends, but then afterwards there were after parties, and a lot of the people in that scene were creative in other ways. So there were photo shows and art shows. People painted, they did photography, they did sculpture. And so it was just this whole circuit, and people were, there were jealousies and people, little backbiting, but basically people were very supportive. And I made some lifelong friends there. I mean, it's the kind of thing where you go to a show, then maybe you go to an after party, and then you end up sleeping over at a friend's house because it was just a bother to go home. You didn't sleep on their couch. In the morning, you all go out for dim sum. And then, there's an opening at the Photographic Resource Center of a new show. So let's do that at 1. And, finally by 3 o'clock, maybe you get home to shower. And that was so important to me. And I wanted to show that world in books like Hold Me Down and World Enough. I really delved into the rock music world. But with Anya, I dealt with the artistic world. And if I may, just to make sure I got this right, because I feel like I know that world, but I'm not a visual artist. I ran the manuscript by a friend of mine who lives in an artist co-op called Brick Bottom up here. And I had her read it. And she said, she read it. She said, basically I got everything right. The only thing I didn't get right was I have one relationship. Anya has one really excellent friend she has many friends, but one very close friend in the arts world who's a sculptor and who's much more successful than she is. And at one point, Greg says to her, what is he to you? Aren't you jealous of him? And she says, no, he's a friend. He's in a different media. And my buddy, who is a real working artist, said to me, she said, that's the one thing that doesn't ring true, and that we're all always jealous of one another.
Oh my gosh, Brett, thank you for the great question, and Clea, thank you for the great answer. And the life that you're describing of this creative, coming community sounds so fun. I've never had an experience like that.
Oh,
that's
fabulous. Literary community.
Yeah, totally.
Just people who talk about things, who live for something outside themselves, for something creative. It's
Renee says it sounds like fun. It sounds so fun. Right, Renee? I want to jump in a time machine and go back there. Ravengard, welcome to the conversation. Joining us from YouTube, wants to know what sparked the idea for the butterfly trap. Great question.
Great question. I'll give you a 2-part answer.
Let's hear it.
And the first was that a friend of mine he was widowed. He was seeing somebody, and they came to visit for a weekend. And by the end of the weekend, things were tense to the point where when she was still sleeping, he and I were at our kitchen table and we started talking, and we both ended up crying. And I ended up saying, I said, well, what do you expect? You always go for crazy. He kind of acknowledged it. But then we realized that some of the patterns in their relationship were patterns in my parents' relationship. Because my mother was an artist. She was a painter and a printmaker. And my father was a doctor. And he fell in love with her, I think, in part because she was an artist. Because there's a certain kind of straight guy who thinks that women artists are incredibly romantic, sort of the fetishization of the women artist. It's like you meet the same woman, she could be gorgeous, but if she's an accountant, she's just not as sexy as if she says she's a painter. So I think that was going on. But at the same time, so my mother was an artist, and he was like, I'm going to support you in the style, you can create your art. And she could, but he was the one with the money. So even though she could paint and she could, work in her studio, she had to have dinner on the table by 6. She had to raise the kids. And that's tension going on. So, that granted, that was, a generation ago, but I think to some extent there's still this conflict between, who has the money, who doesn't have the money. We fetishize or idealize each other. We have expectations of what a partner should be that are often linked to, stereotypical and outdated gender roles. And all that came into play. And after I realized that, after that disastrous weekend, and my friend and his then girlfriend broke up, and I realized the connection to my parents, I was just thinking, well, what if that were today? Typing and
Clea, I like how you told him straightly, you always go for crazy. Yeah, it's inspiring me to have more honest conversations.
Well, it was, it was a long conversation, and it was like, why is this? Finally, you have to say.
Finally, you just had to say. Exactly. Oh my gosh.
And having said that, remember, I'm a novelist, so I'm not sure I actually said that. In retrospect, I like to think I said that. Yeah.
The record shows you said that. Robin is saying the after parties with a multitude of creative folks and the sleepovers. It just sounds so fun. I know, Robin, I want to get in a time machine and go back there. That sounds so fun. Oh my gosh. And Robin's saying, LOL, you always go for the crazy. I literally LOL'd at that. I laughed out loud at that as well, Robin. Totally. Ooh, Margaret has a good question. Clea, how has your writing changed from book 1 to book 32?
I hope it's gotten better. I am more confident now. I mean, as I said, when you first see the blank page, it's terrifying. And you don't know what to do. But I think I trust myself a little more. So it's like when I got that spark after that scene with my friend and thinking about my parents, and when I started writing The Butterfly Trap, I didn't stop myself and think, oh, this isn't a book. I started writing. I mean, if at some point you start thinking, well, is this a novel or is this a short story? But you know that there's something there. So that's changed. So I think because I've gotten more confident, I think that is of a piece with my writing improving, because I'm more myself. I'm copying other people less, though of course you always read, and are inspired. It's like, Lisa Unger and Deanna Raybourn, who I adore. They're both, masters of the craft. And you can always, when you pick up a book by either of them, you can always learn something. But that said, I feel more confident in who I am and in my style now.
So when you say that that now you're able to say, oh, I think there is a story there, does that mean that somewhere between book 1 and book 32, you had other ideas and thought, but because you didn't have the confidence, because you didn't trust yourself, you said, oh, that's not a book, or that's not enough for a book, and didn't end up writing those? And if so, do you regret that?
There is nothing that has totally gotten on this, been relegated to the scrap pile. World Enough, I started writing about 20 years before I was ready to write it. And when I finally went back to it, I think I had like 100 or 200 pages, and I scrapped all but the opening scene. But other than that, yeah, pretty much when I have an idea, I write it. But sometimes it is a short story, and sometimes it's a short story that like when I started the Prue Marlowe series, that started with a short story. And then I realized, oh, there's something here. There's something with this character. I've been lucky that way. Everything I've turned my hand to has turned out, but I've doubted myself a lot more.
Robin is saying long, long ago and far, far away on Okinawa, the sleepovers were mandatory because it was a 2-year prison term for a DUI. Good. We should have more of that. We need less DUIs. Renee wants to know, did you go to Woodstock, Clea? If so, can you share anything special about it with us?
I did not. I was too young for the original one and not interested in the follow-ups. I have been to a lot of festivals.
What's your favorite?
Excuse me?
What's your favorite festival?
Well, now it doesn't sound very rock and roll, but it's quite wonderful. The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival.
Oh, I've heard that's great.
Which has also, it's not just jazz. It's, it's got Zydeco and funk and brass band music, all sorts of fun stuff like that. The most important thing about a festival is pace yourself. Okay, 3 things. Pace yourself, stay hydrated, and bring tissues for the porta potties.
Okay. Yes. As soon as you said porta potties, I was out. That's not going to work for me, Clea. Oh my gosh. Stick to thrillers, stick to thrillers. There's always toilet paper at the thriller. There's always toilet paper at the thriller conferences.
Yes. Yeah. I love mystery conferences. They're the best because you get to hang with other writers and talk craft, but you also get to meet readers. So I'll be at Thriller Fest, not Thriller Fest. What's the one in New York?
Thriller Fest.
There is Thriller Fest. Okay, I'll be at Thriller Fest this June, and I'll be at BoucherCon in August. I love those. They're just the best.
Well, I will see you at Thriller Fest. Hit me up. I will be there. Renee says that sounds amazing. And yes, toilet paper, very important. Indeed. Indeed. Clea, what's one thing that you want readers to take with them or still be thinking about when they turn that last page of The Butterfly Trap out tomorrow?
Wow. Wow. Do I have to come up with one takeaway from The Butterfly Trap? I guess
you don't have to limit yourself. You could do 3, you could do 5, however many you want, Clea.
Well, what intrigued me and what kept me writing was the fact that you can never really know another person. But also, we are always the heroes or the heroines of our own story. And we use that to excuse a lot of bad behavior. So I guess that thought is like, you never really know what the other person is thinking. Maybe try to think that maybe you're not the heroine or the hero of the story. Try to see it from the other person's point of view. And then just sort of on a broader sense, just the whole idea that, desires and expectations are not the same thing. And it's really hard to distinguish between, what you want, especially if it's what you want the most in all the world, the perfect love, say. But what you expect, that should be a little more based we in reality.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's those conflicts, how we see the other person and how we see ourselves, but also desire versus expectation.
Ooh, that's good. Randy says, Clea, come to Indiana sometime. Any plans to head out there?
Not right now, but I would love to. If it's possible, I will.
Clea's going to grab her bass, her laptop, her typewriter, her cats, and hit the road.
Randy, I don't think the cat would like that.
Randy, get your drums ready. Get tuning up. Clea's ready to head your way. Oh my goodness. We are almost out of time. Ooh, Robin, last question. What is next for Clea?
Ooh, thank you for asking, Robin. I am working on the next Witch Cat book. My original publisher for the Witch Cat series went belly up. So Level Best Books, bless them, is picking up the first 4 books in the series and reissuing them. So they'll be out with new covers and a new publisher, I think, in the next winter. And I'm writing, so there are 4 of them, and I'm writing a 5th and a 6th. Now, right now, I'm in the middle of the 5th. But my agent also has a manuscript for a new psychological thriller. So I don't want to say any more about that, but I'm hoping to keep alternating between the hard-edged, edge of your seat, who do you believe stories, and the cozy, comforting, the witch cats will help you out stories.
You heard it first here on Mystery and Thriller Mammoths, everybody. Remember, you heard it first here. Oh, Renee does have another question. Why is Thriller Fest being held later this year? Great question, Renee. So Thriller Fest is moving hotels this year. So for the past 3 years, it's been held at the Sheraton. And this year it is going to be held, this year and next year will be held at the Hilton, also in Times Square. And it turns out it is hard to get a hotel that can fit 1,000 people in New York City. So we had to move it to the middle of June, which is not great timing for me because I have the Nantucket Book Festival and the next day Thriller Fest. But that's okay. It's going to be a jam-packed, fabulous, fun-filled 10 days. And then I'm going to take a nap for a week or 2.
Really?
Thriller Fest is going to be June 17th through the 21st. And here is the link. So all of your favorite authors are going to be there. Clea will be there. I will be there. We have James Patterson is going to be there. John Grisham is going to be there. Oyankin Braithwaite's going to be there. Jennifer Hillier is going to be there. Literally everyone in the industry is going to be there. And you can just come and hear your favorite authors talk. You can get cocktails with them afterward. It is a fabulous, fabulous opportunity. All right, you all, that is a wrap for us here on Mystery Monday. Thank you for joining us. Renee saying thank you. Sarah and Clea for a great event. Robin saying Left Coast Crime is in San Francisco next year. We should all go there.
I'm registered.
Yay! I hope your week is off to a killer start. May the days and the pages fly by, and I will see you all next week. Have a very good week until then.